You finally told someone. You explained why you're estranged, why you went no contact, why you can't have them in your life anymore, and they said, but they're your parent. You only get one mother. Family is everything. You'll regret this when they're gone. And suddenly, you're the one who has to justify protecting yourself. Here's why people say this, what they're actually revealing, and how to respond without losing your mind. Let's start with why people say, but they're your parent in the first place. Because understanding the why makes it easier to not internalize. They come from functional families. They have no reference point for what you experienced. To them, parents are people who love you, protect you, support you, make mistakes, but ultimately care. So when you say, I can't have a relationship with my parent, their brain can't compute it. They think, what could a parent possibly do that would warrant cutting them off? They literally cannot imagine it, so they default to, well, they're your parent. That has to count for something. They've been conditioned by the same cultural narrative. We're drowning in family is everything messaging. Movies, TV shows, greeting cards, religion, society. All of it says, blood is thicker than water. You forgive family. You honor your mother and father. So when you go against that narrative, it feels wrong to them. Not because you're wrong, but because the cultural script is so deeply embedded, they're uncomfortable with your boundary. Your estrangement forces them to confront uncomfortable truths, that parents can be abusive, that family can be toxic, that sometimes leaving is the only option. That's scary. That's unsettling. Because if your parent can be that bad, what about theirs? If you can cut off family, does that mean their family relationships are at risk? So they defend the sanctity of family, not to help you, to protect themselves from discomfort. They're projecting their own family dynamics onto you. They think, I couldn't imagine cutting off my mom, so you shouldn't cut off yours. They assume your relationship is like theirs. They don't understand that your parent is fundamentally different, so they're giving advice based on their experience, not your reality. They think they're being helpful. They genuinely believe they're giving you good advice. Don't burn bridges. You'll regret it. Forgiveness is healing. They think they're saving you from making a mistake. They don't realize they're invalidating your entire experience. They don't want to believe you, because if what you're saying is true, that a parent can be that cruel, that harmful, that irredeemable, then they have to sit with the fact that the world is scarier than they thought, that parents aren't always safe, that families can be dangerous. That's hard to accept. So it's easier to say, you're overreacting, you're being too harsh, you should forgive them, easier than believing you. When someone says, but they're your parent, here's what they're actually saying, even if they don't realize it. Your abuse isn't bad enough to justify this. They're telling you, whatever happened, it wasn't that bad. You should be able to get over it, move past it, forgive it, because family. Your pain matters less than social norms. They're telling you, I care more about upholding the idea of family than I care about your well-being. The appearance of family unity is more important than your actual safety. I don't want to believe parents can be this bad. They're telling you, your reality is too uncomfortable for me, so I'm going to minimize it, dismiss it, deny it, because accepting it would shatter my worldview. I'm not willing to sit with your truth. They're telling you, I don't want to hold space for the reality of what you survived. It's easier to tell you to reconcile than to actually witness your pain. You're the problem, not them. They're telling you, the issue isn't that your parent abused you. The issue is that you won't forgive them. You're the one being difficult, unforgiving, stubborn, not them for hurting you for not getting over it. I value the parent-child relationship more than I value you. They're telling you, I'm siding with an abstract concept over your lived experience. I'm defending a person I may not even know simply because they hold the title parent. And you? Your feelings, your trauma, your safety, secondary. I'm not a safe person for you. This is the most important translation. When someone says, but they're your parent, they're showing you, I will not protect you. I will not believe you. I will not validate you. I will always side with the abuser because of biology. They're showing you who they are. Believe them. But they're your parent comes in many forms. Here are the variations you'll hear. You only get one mother. Translation, your mother is irreplaceable, no matter how badly she treats you. As if scarcity
As if
makes
having
abuse
only
acceptable.
one of something means you have to keep it, even if it's destroying you.
But family is everything. Translation, the concept of family is more important than your actual well-being. You should sacrifice yourself to maintain the illusion of family unity. They did the best they could. Translation, their limitations excuse the harm they caused you. You should lower your expectations because they were struggling, as if doing their best means you don't get to heal from what they did. You'll regret this when they're gone. Translation, your future hypothetical grief should dictate your current boundaries. You should endure abuse now to avoid regret later, as if regret is worse than ongoing trauma. No parent is perfect. Translation, all parental flaws are equal and should be forgiven. Your parents' abuse is the same as normal parental mistakes. It's not. They brought you into this world. Translation, you owe them eternal gratitude for your existence, as if giving birth creates a debt you can never repay, as if creating a life means you own that life. Blood is thicker than water. Translation, genetic connection is more important than actual love, safety, or respect. You should tolerate anything from people who share your DNA. Ironically, the full phrase is, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Meaning, chosen relationships are stronger than biological ones. They always leave that part out. Forgiveness is healing. Translation, you should prioritize the abuser's comfort over your own healing. Forgiveness in their mind means reconciliation. It doesn't. You can forgive and still never speak to them again. They're getting older. Time is running out. Translation, their mortality is more important than your safety. You should reconcile before they die, regardless of whether they've changed. As if death erases abuse. What would Jesus do? What would God want? Translation, religious obligation should override your boundaries. You should suffer for the sake of looking righteous. As if God wants you to be abused. You're breaking their heart. Translation, their feelings matter more than your safety. You're responsible for their emotional well-being, even at the cost of your own. Their family, you have to forgive them. Translation, forgiveness is mandatory, not a choice. And forgiveness means continuing the relationship, not healing for yourself. What will people think? Translation, public perception is more important than your private pain. You should maintain the appearance of family for the sake of others' comfort. All of these phrases say the same thing. Your boundaries are wrong. Your pain doesn't matter. Blood relation trumps abuse. Get back in line. Here's why these comments hurt so deeply. Because you hoped they'd understand. You didn't share your story lightly. You shared because you needed support, validation, belief, and instead you got, but they're your parent. That dismissal, it cuts, because it minimizes your entire experience. It takes years of abuse, trauma, and survival, and reduces it to, well, family is family, as if what you went through doesn't matter, as if the title, parent, erases everything they did, because it makes you the villain. Suddenly you're the one who's wrong, not them for abusing you, you for walking away. You're the ungrateful child, the cold-hearted one, the family destroyer, and they get to remain the victim. Because it isolates you. If even well-meaning people don't understand, who will? You start to think, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I should just go back.
because standing alone in this decision is exhausting. And when everyone around you is saying reconcile, it's hard to hold your ground because it makes you doubt yourself. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I should forgive. Maybe I'm the problem. You second guess your boundary, your healing, your truth. Because people who've never lived it told you you're wrong, because it re-traumatizes you. Every time someone says, but they're your parent, you have to re-explain, re-justify, re-defend. You have to relive the abuse just to prove you had a right to leave. And that's exhausting and re-traumatizing because it tells you you don't matter as much as the idea of family. Your pain, your safety, your peace, all of it is secondary to maintaining family ties. And that message, you've been hearing it your whole life from the parent who abused you. I'm your mother. You have to respect me. And now from everyone else, they're your parent. You have to forgive them. You can't escape it. The message is always, you matter less. So what do you actually say when someone hits you with, but they're your parent? First, remember, you don't owe everyone an explanation. Not every person deserves your story. Not every person has earned the right to your truth.
You can simply say, it's complicated. I appreciate your concern, but this is what's best for me. I'd rather not discuss it. And leave it there. But if you do choose to respond, here are some options. Option 1, the simple redirect. Yes, they're my parent, and I still deserve to be treated with respect. You're right, they're my parent. That's why it's so painful that I had to make this choice. Being a parent doesn't give someone the right to abuse their child. You're acknowledging their statement without conceding your boundary. Option 2, the reality check. You only get one mother, and mine was abusive. Family is important, so is my safety. I won't regret protecting myself, but I did regret staying as long as I did. You're stating facts, not defending, not explaining, just facts. Option 3, the boundary. I'm not discussing this with you. My relationship with my parent is not up for debate. I've made my decision. I need you to respect it. You're shutting it down, firmly, without apology. Option 4, the reversal. Would you tell someone to stay with an abusive spouse because marriage is sacred? If your parent hurt you the way mine hurt me, what would you do? Why is abuse acceptable if it comes from a parent? You're making them think. You're exposing the double standard. Option 5, the educational response, if they're genuinely asking. I understand that's hard to imagine if you come from a healthy family. Not all parents are safe. I tried for years to make it work. This wasn't a rash decision. Estrangement is a last resort. I didn't choose this lightly. This is for people who are misinformed but not malicious. People who might actually learn. Option 6, the end of conversation. I can see we're not going to agree on this. Let's talk about something else. I appreciate your concern, but I'm not changing my mind. This topic is closed. You're done. You don't have to keep engaging. Here's what you never have to say. You don't have to list the abuse to justify your choice. You don't have to prove you were hurt badly enough. You don't have to convince anyone your boundary is valid. Your boundary is valid because you said it. That's the only justification you need. And one more thing, you can just walk away. If someone keeps pushing, keeps invalidating, keeps saying, but they're your parent, you can leave the conversation, leave the relationship if necessary, because people who won't respect your boundaries aren't safe people. And you don't have to keep them in your life just because they have opinions about your estrangement. Here's what you need to remember when people say, but they're your parent. They don't know what you know. They didn't live in your house. They didn't experience what you experienced. They don't know the whole story, and you don't have to give it to them. Their comfort with family doesn't negate your trauma. Just because their parent was safe doesn't mean yours was. Just because they can't imagine cutting off family doesn't mean you're wrong for doing it. Their experience is not universal. You don't need their approval. You don't need them to understand. You don't need them to agree. You don't need them to validate your choice. You made the right decision for you. That's enough. But they're your parent is not an argument. It's a conversation ender disguised as concern. It's a way to dismiss your pain without actually engaging with it. You don't have to engage with it either. Some people will never get it. And that's okay. You're not responsible for educating everyone. You're not responsible for making them comfortable with your boundary. You're only responsible for protecting yourself, and you're doing that. The right people will understand, or they won't understand, but they'll respect your decision anyway. They'll say, I don't fully get it, but I trust that you know what's best for you. I'm here for you, no matter what. You don't have to explain. I believe you. Those are your people. Hold on to them, and let go of the ones who keep saying, but they're your parent. Because anyone who prioritizes the idea of family over your actual well-being isn't family. They said, but they're your parent. As if that title erased the abuse. As if biology made cruelty acceptable. As if you owed them your suffering because they gave you life. But here's the truth. Being a parent is not a free pass. It's not a shield against accountability. It's not a license to hurt your child without consequence. Yes, they're your parent. And you still deserve safety. You still deserve respect. You still deserve peace. And if they couldn't give you that, you had every right to walk away. The people who matter will understand. The people who don't, let them say what they want. You're not going back. Not for them. Not for anyone. Because you finally chose yourself. And that's not something you'll ever regret. If any of this resonated, subscribe. Because this is a space for people who chose themselves. People who are still healing. People who are done shrinking. You are not alone in this. And you never have to be again.